Ready. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You are watching KUHSdenver.com, and this is the Weekend Boost, and I am your host, Paul Lane, the author of The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. And those of you who are interested in getting copies of the book, you can reach out to me at info@paullane.net, or you can call us up at the station and we'll be happy to get a copy of the book in your hands. Those of you who follow the show know that I am a big supporter of CALMA, the Colorado Alliance for Latino Mentors and Authors, and the anthology has been released, and I'm telling you, if you're interested in some very good down-home reading, if you're looking for some cultural reading that's very, very interesting, very, very powerful stories, poems, essays, good literature from some very, very well-known and acclaimed Denver authors. Guys, we have some big shows coming up. I'm really excited. On my next show, we're going to be talking about healing. You know that they say if you spend 2,000 hours or 10,000 hours in any study, you're going to be an expert. I don't care if it's playing piano, violin, or karate or judo. And I've chosen to learn healing. And so some of the things I want to be talking about in the days and weeks to come is Qigong. Qigong healing is a really powerful and simple way to learn healing. Listen to this, cannabis healing. You guys know me, I'm a cannabis guy, and so cannabis healing, we're going to talk about ways that you can be healed with cannabis. When I was a kid, I used to take my mom marijuana and she'd put it in alcohol and rub it on herself, and she would marinate or saturate it in the marijuana, and it would be very, very healing. And so we're going to talk about cannabis healing. Have you ever heard of cupping? Cupping is it's actually an ancient art. Native Americans used to practice it. They practice it in China, all over the world. Cupping is a real ancient art, and it's a very, very powerful way to create a healing atmosphere within the human body. We're going to talk about all those things. The last thing is, guys, I am offering my services out of my home right now. Come on down if you are having issues with pain, if you're having issues with, just depression, if you're having troubles with really, I'm a life coach, so I can help a lot of people with a lot of things. I have a guarantee when you come and work with me is that you're going to look better, feel better, or have a better sense of well-being, and I guarantee that 100%. You all know that also our motto on the show, our slogan is everybody's looking for a hero, and if you can't find one, be one. And so me, I'm a guy that's always on the lookout for heroes, and I happen to be at the Denver Gem and Mineral Show, which is going to end tomorrow. Get out to the National Western Complex and see it, guys. It's going to be great. We're going to go there this afternoon. Great deals on the last day. But while I was there, I came across a gem. I mean a true gem. Because people who are generating love, who are generating help for other people, who have a purpose, and that purpose in life is to create a healing, or to create prosperity or abundance or health, whatever that may be. Anyone who's helping you to improve, they are a hero. And while I was at the show, I met this young woman, Betsy Finkelhu, and she's the author of this book, The Power Affirmation Journal, a tool to upgrade your mindset. And we started chatting, and I got to tell you, this book has some really awesome, amazing tips and techniques in here. People ask me all the time about manifesting, and I am all about helping people manifest, and this is exactly the tool that you're looking for if that's your desire. Betsy, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. So great to meet you.
Yes, all the way from San Diego, California.
That's right.
Very cool.
Yes, we had a special meeting at the Gem Show. It was just instant joy, beaming, and yeah, just so cool that we were able to manifest this opportunity to get to share today. I'm so excited to see what we will uncover in a conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, after just a couple of minutes of chatting with you, I said, I know she'll make a great guest for the show. Tell me, how did you get involved in affirmation and manifesting? How did that occur to you?
Well, affirmations really came to me at a young age, unknowingly. But first, I want to kind of give a little insight into those people out there that might not understand what affirmations are.
Yes, I'm
Some
sorry.
people might know what positive affirmations are through Louise Hay's work or Florence Scovel Shinn or many other teachers of affirmation. But essentially, positive affirmations are statements that we can repeat in our mind to help us to think more positively about ourselves and about the world. And I see them as also tools to be able to help focus the mind, so that way the monkey mind starts to get quiet. Mm-hmm. And so I started using affirmations when I was probably about 12. I remember there was a moment where my older sisters were kind of picking on me, which, you know, that's the huge. I love them today, but they were also pretty hard on me as I was the youngest. And I went into my room this one day and I looked into the mirror and I looked into my own eyes and I started saying nice things to myself. And I didn't know what affirmations were. I didn't even realize until many, many years later that's what I was doing. But it really helped me to feel good about myself. It helped me feel okay. And it gave me the courage I needed to be able to get through that hard time of being like a preteen and a teenager. And then over the years, I had started using affirmations in my journaling, and I started learning about affirmations. I studied Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, which is another amazing book about healing. And then I just started to see the benefit. My life started to get better and better the more that I focused on my mind on affirmations. And then just also, I do body work. I do somatic body work and healing work. I've started in massage therapy and then trained in many different modalities of energy work and intuitive healing. And I found that in that kind of work, the mind is also very connected. You know, our tissues hold emotions, and the mind, body, and spirit are very connected. And so I started playing with using affirmations in the massages and in the body work, and started seeing incredible results. So affirmations are deeply integrated into my life and into my work, and I highly recommend them. And that's why I created this book, to help people get more in touch with them, because I've had such profound benefits from using positive affirmations.
Paul J. Meyer calls affirmations the act as if principle. And, you know, I learned about affirmations when I was in my early 20s, and I have affirmations that I memorized from a very young age, you know. Some of them were pretty extensive, you know. That was one I'm going to share with you. I will enter this interview without giving mental recognition to the possibility of defeat. I will make a friend. I will make a sale. I will be able to see through their eyes the end result, benefit for having my services. What's behind the door, I cannot tell, but this I know and know it well. The more I open, the more I sell. If I have everything to gain and nothing to lose by trying, I will by all means try. And that was my mantra for 40 years in the workplace. And so when, you know, yeah, there's so many that talk about affirmation and the power of it, and we really, you know, they say we become what we think about most. I love how you have the little quotes all throughout the book, by the way. You know, as you're reading, you'll see a little blue section at the bottom of the page, and it, you know, each one relates to the section that you're reading. We become what we think about all day long, and then it attributes it to Ralph Waldo Emerson, of course. What happens to your mind when you start hearing positive affirmations?
Well, a few different things can happen. You know, one of the things that I find that happens for me, because I've been practicing so much, is I feel confident, I feel calm, I feel regulated in my nervous system, I feel my body can relax. You know, I'll give you an example. You know, traffic can sometimes be stressful. And it's the perfect place to practice affirmations, because really, I believe we're practicing affirmations all day long, whether we know it or not. Our thoughts are going. We have some 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and oftentimes those thoughts can be affirmations. Maybe not positive affirmations, sometimes unconscious negative affirmations. And so the example of being in a stressful environment like traffic, using an affirmation is I trust that I'm going to arrive to my destination right on time, and even if I'm late, I will be okay. Everyone will be okay. I am calm, I'm staying centered, I'm patient. I'm patient with myself and this process, I'm patient of getting to where I need to go. These kinds of affirmations while driving just create this sense of relaxation in my shoulders. My breath gets slower and deeper. There is just this calmness. And then, like you mentioned, manifesting, then you manifest the best outcome.
Absolutely.
Because, the flip side would be the negative affirmations, like, oh man, I'm not going to get there on time. I don't have enough time. Why is this person driving that way? This is so frustrating. I don't know how I'm going to get there. Those are all affirmations. And then with those kind of thoughts, tension in the shoulders, maybe clenching of the jaw, short breath. And we know all of those things contribute to not good things in the body. Dis-ease comes from that kind of blockages and shortness of breath. And then we attract that which we don't want. And so that's just one example of how I like to use affirmations on a daily. But it takes a training to get there. And that's what this journal is really about. Yes. I consider the Power Affirmation Journal is like the gym, going to the gym for your mind. When you first start working out or lifting weights, it's very difficult. If we've been thinking negatively for most of our lives, and then we try to use an affirmation, it can be really hard to get that in there, to really start to believe it. Because
to grasp it, yes.
You grasp it to really believe it. Because if we start saying an affirmation, a positive affirmation, but we don't actually believe it, then it's going to take a long time to actually start to feel the responses of the body and the manifestation of what we're trying to bring into our lives. So the journaling, the writing down of the affirmations, and clarifying even what are the negative affirmations I've been saying that I want to change is so powerful, because we have the power to change our minds. We can change our belief systems, but it takes work sometimes, especially if there's programs running in there that have been running for a long time.
Talk about intentions. And as you very first part of the book says, I intend to get this out of the book. And it's like, when I got to that, I was like, what a great intro to what I'm about to read, because I'm real big on intention statements. And so, when I read that, it was like, that's the way the book should be laid out. So just want to make that comment.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, living with intention is very powerful. It is really a kind of like you ring a bell. You know how if you're in a space and someone rings a bell, it just brings everything to focus. It's like, bing, oh, okay, here we are. And our intention can be like that. Our intention can kind of create a certain frequency for how we want to live each day or each moment, or, in conversations, or, for example, I know that this conversation here has an intention to inspire.
Yes.
Excuse me. To bring inspiration to the people that are listening. And we get to speak from that place. And it's so simple, but so powerful to clarify what the intention is of everything we do.
Absolutely. I've overcome a lot of emotional problems in my life using mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. And one of the most powerful things that I learned about taking mushrooms is that mushrooms are not important. What's important is the intention statement that you take before the experience, because through that exercise, I have been able to remove so many bad habits and bad qualities within myself. I was very I grew up, people told me I was an angry young man, and I said, I'm going to remove the anger from my system. I was very insecure, and I saw that in myself, and I had notes all over. I am emotionally based, stable. I am emotionally powerful, and when I did that intention statement and I took this mushroom, it was prescribed by one of my guests who was a shaman, by the way, just interesting. I was able to see that in myself from a different perspective, objectively. And so that intention statement, it's so far-reaching, I think. Every time you make a manifestation, it starts with that intention. And, your intention is XYZ, and so great way to start the book. It's really necessary, if you do get this book and order this book, that you look at it, that you read it, that you use it. Every page has sections where you question yourself, you search yourself, you ask yourself. I love how you lay that out too. Let me see, where is it? Explore, release, and ask. When you can release, what does that mean, release? What does that entail?
I'd love to speak to why that's an important part of affirmations. Because I have found in my own personal journey of growth and transformation and self-development that it's important to look at the deeper underlying root of some of the negative beliefs that I have held, in order to be able to rise above them. They say, the only way out is through. And so when the journal came to my mind, and it was quite a process to get this journal out, because it took probably about 3 years to really fine tune and refine the process that's in there. It's not just writing affirmations. It's really about getting deeper inside yourself to look at what are those belief systems and what are the ones that we're ready to change. And so the first section is explore. What are my beliefs in these different areas of life, whether it's love or money or expression or confidence. And so we explore what are the beliefs that are in there. And then oftentimes what can happen is then you start to see what are the beliefs that are ready to change. And that's where the release comes in. So when we write down the belief systems that are outdated or that have been kind of holding us back or have been nagging at us, we see it in black and white. And my personal experience has been, when I write it down and see it in ink, it can create a very deep emotional process.
It's like it activates.
It activates it. It brings it to the forefront. And then when I could see it, I started to feel I had more choice. Whereas those negative beliefs sometimes run in the background and they can rule our lives. They sit in the driver's seat and it's very difficult, right? But when we fully claim that I am choosing to release this thought I have about myself once and for all, then we can start to really get curious around how we want to think. So I'll give you an example. For me, it was, I'm not worthy. And that's a very common one. A lot of the clients I work with and people that I've talked to, I'm not worthy is a very deep belief that's held. It's very unfortunate because it can hold us back a lot. And so for me, I wrote that down. And when I wrote it down, I cried, and I was like, wow, how long I've been thinking I'm not worthy, and I'm really getting in touch with my deeper knowing that I truly am.
Yes.
Then I started to see, okay, I'm choosing to let go of that. And then it goes, this next section then is ask.
Yes.
So instead of just writing an affirmation to just kind of bulldoze over that, like, how can I start to see myself as worthy? What's it going to take for me to start seeing myself as worthy? What would it feel like to feel completely worthy of love, of success, of money, of whatever it might be? Because if I'm thinking for my whole life, many decades, that I'm not worthy, and then I'm trying to say, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, there's going to be some, deep parts of me that truly don't believe it. But the curiosity, the questions starts to open things up. We start to see in a different way. And then we get to start to go into the affirmations. What would it feel like to feel truly worthy? And then I can start to just work with that. And so there's a whole system inside of this journal that really can take you deep if you want to go. If you want to go deep inside yourself and truly transform, this is a place to do that.
Yes. Socrates said, man, know thyself. And as I was reading this book, those words kept coming to me, because this book really causes you, when you question, and when you ask empowering questions, you're really asking yourself to let go of those thoughts that were holding you back. You're asking yourself to examine those self-limiting beliefs that maybe have been implanted by some well-meaning adult, but really are keeping you back from what you are capable of, and that you really deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, the Power Affirmation Journal is set up for just that. It's a tool. That's why it says it's a tool to upgrade your mindset.
Yes, it is. It's like a rewiring, man. I tell you, it's to grab concepts like this and apply them. And that's the other thing. It's applying this information. It's not just reading it and then putting the book down. And this is an interactive book, and I don't care if you open up the page, to one page in the middle of the book. There's questions in there. Let me grab my glasses. I'm just going to give you an example, because you could randomly open this book from page 1 to the last page. For my inner power, I choose to say no to say yes to commit to say yes to, and then to say no to.
Yeah, so this section, the one you turn to, that's really all about clarifying what you value. Also boundaries, learning how to clarify boundaries. If that section that you just turned to is the power section, that is confidence, self-respect. So when we start to write down, I choose to say yes to having kind people in my life. I choose to say no to overgiving or people pleasing. We start to write it down. It's just a declaration.
Yeah.
It is like putting a stake in the ground and saying, I know what I'm saying yes to. I know what I'm saying no to. I know what I'm committing to.
It's interesting when you say boundaries, because we literally have to set boundaries on our own selves for our own good sometimes. Like if you're you overgive, you never say no. In the book Boundaries, they talk about a teacher or a parent who is always at the bake sale. She's always at the fundraiser. She's always at the parent-teacher thing, and she never has time for herself. And finally she said, I got to set a boundary here. I have to make it a point to say no. And so we got to give ourselves permission to say, you know what? It's okay not to go and do this activity today. It's okay. I'm going to be kind to myself.
Yes, and it's okay to say no.
And it is okay to say no.
Yeah.
I got a phrase.
Love the saying is like the saying, I wonder if it's the same one that's coming up. Sometimes saying no to others is saying yes to yourself.
Oh, I like that. My daughter says, I'm sorry, I don't have the capacity to handle that right now. I love that. That's very disarming, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful way to express boundaries. I don't have the capacity in this moment to be able to do that for you.
Yeah.
Is there another time that might work, or is there someone else that might be able to help you with that?
Yeah.
Right, because we can be kind.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sharp when we say no. We can still be kind and say no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's an affirmation for that. I am learning to have boundaries with other people. I am learning and practicing how to be kind when I say no to others.
Oh, that's really good, because a lot of times when you say no to someone, especially when they're a little less appreciative, then it gives you permission to really be kind to yourself, and at the same time be respectful to their demands without saying, I'm sorry, pal. And said, hey, I just have other things that are really important right now I got to deal with.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there's another great book. Since here we are talking about all the wonderful books for healing. This one is called Essentialism. You know that one?
I don't.
Essentialism. That's a really great book that kind of talks about how do we simplify our lives in all these different areas, whether that is like living as an essentialist with only the physical items that we need, but then also there's a whole section in there around living as an essentialist by saying no to the things that are not in alignment to what we're here to do or what is best for us.
Wow. Do you know the author of that by chance?
I'm not sure.
That's fine. It'll be easy enough to find. Wow. Yeah. Essentialism. I mean, even the title of that suggests that there's something very important that we are not grafting or not taking advantage of. There's some essential things.
So, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. as I read through, you quoted so many people. Brian Tracy, one of my favorite authors. Maximum Achievement, Joe Dispenza. Guys, they say that a person who won't read is no better than a person who can't read. And I believe it's like if you read one book a year, you read more than 99% of the American population. And,
wow.
And I know people that are reading 60 and 80 books a year. Well, my daughter does on audio because she travels a lot, but it's like, oh my gosh, this is the essence of life. This is, we were put here to gain, to grow, to develop, and I think to help other people. And so, when I look at a book like this is exactly the tool that I believe people, and maybe some of them don't even know it, but people are looking for this. People are, someone, just turned on this radio, their station, and they're seeing this book for the first time, and they're going to say, I need that book.
Yes, it's called the Power Affirmation Journal. And also, for those of you that are joining or have been listening, you can find it on poweraffirmation.com.
Yes, poweraffirmation.com. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd love to give you a little insight into where it's come from as well.
Please.
And how we got here. So the Power Affirmation Journal came from this a seed of inspiration on my birthday in 2017. I gathered some friends for a party, but I also wanted to have a special unifying moment and make an offering to my community. And so there was about 30 people there, and I guided everyone into creating their own affirmations. And so we did a meditation, and then I invited the first few lines of the affirmation, and then everyone else, they filled in their own, what they wanted to focus on. And it went so well. Everyone loved it. They all took their affirmation home, and many of them still have theirs on their wall. Mm-hmm. And then the series of months after that, I started to realize there's something to this. And so I started to consider my own journaling process and how I really had found a lot of benefit from going deep inside myself and pulling different things out. And I started to get that feeling like, okay, I need to create this journal. So then the next year for my birthday, I made a declaration to a smaller group of friends, about 8 friends, and said, I'm going to make this journal. And I felt this deep level of commitment within myself, and then speaking it out loud to people that I love was a whole nother level of bringing it to life. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about manifesting, right? It's the blend of words and actions. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say an affirmation all day and just wait for something to change. We got to take the action.
Yes.
Right? What are the steps that we take in order to bring to life what it is that we want to bring through? And so this book actually is a manifestation of a vision that I had. Mm-hmm. And then after some time, I started working with a book mentor, Christine Gale. She's amazing. For those aspiring authors out there, I got to give her a big shout out because she really held a lot of space for this book to come to life. So thank you, Christine Gale, with Unleash Your Rising. And then the Power Affirmation Journal was born in April of 2020, which was right at the beginning of, we all know so well, a very interesting time, where many people were ready to kind of get quiet and go inward, and it started to have a really powerful impact. And I started vetting it with women in women's groups online. And so the first edition was April 2020. Then I tested it with these women's groups all through the pandemic, and then refined it, tested it, refined it, tested it, refined it. And so inside of the pages of the Power Affirmation Journal is a system that has been tested many, many times. I've watched so many people manifest their lives and go deep inside themselves and transform their belief systems. I've seen women that had been trying to have babies for years get in touch with what the beliefs were that were holding them back from becoming a mother. Wow. And they got pregnant. Now those babies are here. I watched so many beautiful manifestations of dream jobs, of just really believing in themselves, healing their bodies. And so this journal then started to really have a positive impact. And during the time that I had been doing it, I did all the printing and all of the distribution, everything myself to start off. Got it into lots of retail stores.
Wow,
But
good for you, Betsy.
Thank you. But it got to a point where I was really feeling it was too much for me to do by myself. And so I am a believer in prayer and intention. And when I got to that point where I was feeling overwhelmed with the idea of going bigger and getting this journal out into the world, I took the journal itself as it's a being. This book has its own life force energy. And I asked, okay, Power Affirmation Journal, what do you need?
Wow.
Is it time to grow, or is it time to be put to rest? Because I can't do this by myself anymore. What do you want? And so I sat with that question, and I sat with the journal itself, and then I got a call from one of my main retailers, Earth's Elements, here in San Diego. They started a publishing company, and they said, hey, we really love your journal. It's been doing so well. We'd love to publish. And basically what that means is that we want to support getting this work out into the world.
Wow.
And that's how you and I met, Paul, because Earth's Elements is also a wholesaler. And they bring metaphysical products out into the world with crystals and sage and all wonderful singing bowls and all the things metaphysical. And so it was a prayer answered. And then within a few months, baby, that is out in the world helping people. And I'm so glad that I could share a little peek of where it came from with you today.
You know, I think about in the physical world, well, I'm going to give you an example. One time I was, someone had a rock that they were giving away on Marketplace on Facebook. And so I drove to the other side of town, and I got there and I picked up a big bar on the way, a big heavy duty bar, and I got there and it was almost as big as a car. I mean, it was huge. It was, 2,500 pounds. And I had a trailer, and I didn't know how, but I was going to get it, 30 feet from the house to the street. And I picked up that bar and I just started lifting it. I had a kid throw rocks under it, and I moved that thing 30 feet to the street. I couldn't have done it without that lever. This book is that lever. This book is the kind of tool you need to do exponential growing in your life. If you are not making the progress you would like to make and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. That's a Paul J. Meyer quote.
I love that. Can you say that again?
If you are not making the progress you would like to make and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. Now, when you have a tool like this doesn't just make you feel good, because it does make you feel good, but this is going to give you precise guidance to help you focus and acclaim, and really have the things or situations that you long for in your life and always hoped that you could have.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that, Paul. Yes, absolutely. And I love the way that you just remind everyone out there listening that you can live your best life.
Yes.
We don't have to be a victim. We don't have to, be stuck. It might feel like sometimes really difficult to get out of life situations that are challenging. But one thing that we have the ability to do is choose our thoughts.
Yep.
We can really make a positive difference inside, right? The saying, right? Like, be the change. The inside is going to reflect the outside.
Yes.
And so when we go inside ourselves and start doing that deep work, magic, miracles can happen, and we can start to live our best lives. And it starts with one affirmation at a time. So I love being able to remind people out there of that too.
Yes. I'm sure there's probably someone out there who is probably feeling kind of at the bottom of their barrel. There might be someone out there who's thinking, I could never do XYZ. They couldn't do, I could never be the manager. I could never be $100,000 a year earner. I could never go to another country. Whatever the case may be, those are self-limiting beliefs. And the changes that you need to make from where you are to where you hope to be seem like they're impassable, that they can never be attained. But here's the thing, it's a little bit at a time. You know, the ant devours the tiger. The raindrop washes away the mountain. It's a little progress every day that makes the difference.
Yes. Every day in every way, little by little, I am getting better and better.
Yes.
So one of the very first recorded affirmations in history was in the 1800s by a doctor. And every day in every way, these tiny steps that we can take to make positive changes in our thoughts and our actions and our habits. Every day in every way, believing that we can get better. You know, I love that metaphor of the raindrop. One raindrop can just move a mountain.
Yes, absolutely.
Over and over, repetition is the key. The other metaphor that I love is that Joe Dispenza uses, which he is one of my inspirations as well for mindset transformation and changing our beliefs, is when we want to walk a new path. If we have been walking on the same path for a long time, it's going to take some effort to create a new path. And so we have to pull out that machete. We have to pull out the tools to be able to cut down all the overgrown kind of foliage. And then we got to walk on that path again and again and again. Because how does that path get formed? Because we're walking on it so much. And so to create that new belief, if you know, think about our neurons, right? I love the way he describes it too. It's like we have 26,000 new neural pathways that connect when we learn something new.
Wow.
And when we repeat that information, then those neural connections get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's the same thing with the affirmation. The more that we repeat an affirmation, the stronger the belief gets. Yes. And then that old path that we were walking on, those old neural connections start to atrophy, start to grow over. And then soon enough, when we, you know, or the metaphor of hiking a mountain, it's like overwhelming, but one step at a time. And then eventually you get to a point where you turn around and you see how far you've come. And it's so powerful to be able to just commit to a practice and commit to believing in ourselves and showing up every day in every way.
Yeah.
Affirming, believing, knowing that I can rise up from this dark place.
Yeah. Yeah, so many times people look at, you know, where they want to be, and it looks like it's a mountain. It's like it's this insurmountable obstacle that I could never be there. I could never, you know, whatever the case is, slight. It's the slight edge. Think about the Kentucky Derby. You know, the top guy gets like $8 million or $5 million. The second place guy gets $300,000, you know? And they're a nose. They're so close you have to photograph them. It's such a slight edge. And when you have tools that give you the guidance to support you, to guide you, to help you to know what decision is best to make next, this is the tool that opens those doors for you, man.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, this is a training ground for your mindset. You know, we go to the gym, we create a new habit, we start meditating. Even if it's 1 minute of meditation a day, it's more than none.
Betsy, talk about meditation. Excuse me. Talk about meditation.
Yeah, meditation is, I feel, a very important practice. I personally have a deep practice. I use Vipassana style of meditation, which is essentially focusing on the respiration and the sensation in the body with equanimity as a way to balance the mind. And so the practice is so simple, and it can make a ripple effect in the day. So it's not just about showing up to the cushion to sit in stillness or silence, but it's about how that impacts the rest of the day. So focusing on the breath, or in certain other types of meditation, you know, transcendental meditation, there's so many different types of visualization, guided meditations, mantra, whatever it is, it's a practice to focus the mind, focusing the mind. staying present. And these days, with the world that we live in, there's so many things that pull our attention. It is social media.
Reaching it, it's like you say, that ripple effect. You know, when you're calm, you're able to accept things more. When you're at that state of openness, you're able to receive and understand and actually grasp and act upon those things that before seemed like a pipe dream, like they were impossibilities.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to be able to believe in ourselves.
Yes. I learned transcendental meditation. Well, I learned about it when I was 17 years old, and I always wanted to do it, and I finally went and I found someone and I learned how to do it, and it's been a real life changer for me, you know, as far as calming my spirit, helping me get focus centered, starting out my day right. I mean, it just really it creates harmony within me, and so I mean, all of those things are. I'm a big believer in meditation, and I try to do as much help with guiding people through meditation as I can. So,
yes, beautiful.
Guys, before I forget, you are watching KUHS The Stream in Denver, Colorado, and this is the Weekend Boost. I am your host. We are talking to Betsy Finkelhu, the author of the Power Affirmation Journal. And guys, a tool that you've been looking for, that you didn't even know you were looking for, sits before you. All you need to do is reach out to this website, poweraffirmation.com.
That's right.
poweraffirmation.com. Order your copy today. I'm telling you, folks, this is a book that you have to get in your hands. It's not a book you can just look at and get the benefit of, but it's a book that you can digest. It's a book that you can swallow. It's a book you can sleep on, and it's a great book you can wake up to. I'm not kidding you guys.
Absolutely.
The best time to do affirmations is right before you go to bed and right when you wake up, because your mind is most impressionable at those times. And when you do, ugly, you're too short, you're too fat. I'm sorry, but we all hear them.
Those are affirmations.
They are affirmations.
Those are affirmations. And you know, when we start to become more aware of the thoughts that we're thinking, then we have the power to change.
Yes.
Then we have the power to choose. Yes. Right? If we can start catching those moments, as you know, it's so powerful. And Joe Dispenza uses that one too. Is like change. As soon as you start to become aware of that thought, I could never do such and such, or I'm to this, I'm to that. Then we go change. I'm going to choose a different thought right now.
Yes.
And it's not only about just choosing an affirmation that, like, you know, I can do it. Because if we don't actually believe that right then, what I have found is the way to just getting into a place of neutral is better than what that negative is, right? Wow. So instead of I could never do it, change, I'm learning how to start to believe in myself more. Or even the affirmation is, I choose my thoughts right now.
Yes.
I choose my thoughts. I choose my thoughts. It is so powerful. In the morning, right when you wake up, here's one of my favorite affirmation hacks. To start to infuse the mind with affirmations right when we wake up, it's a practice. And so what I do is I take my affirmation cards, which I have a deck of power affirmation cards as well. I take one of the cards before I go to bed and I put it right by my phone. Oh. So before I even check the time, before I start checking messages or whatever I'm going to look at my phone for, I grab the card and I read the affirmation. And then that kind of like sets the tone for the day. And then, you know what ended up happening? Now, I've done it so much that as soon as I wake up, I start thinking an affirmation.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm awake. Okay, this is my moment. Okay, I'm like in between sleep and awake. I am light. I'm safe. All is well. I'm okay. I'm healthy. Things are working out in my favor. Life is good. I am good. I'm going to attract wonderful miracles today.
Wow. Yes.
It's training the brain to think in affirmations right when we go to sleep, right when we wake up.
Yeah. And you know, for those of you who think affirmations are just only for, you know, financial gain, affirmations can be used in all aspects of your life. I'll give you an example. 3 years ago this past February, I was approved for knee replacements in both knees. ACL, MCL, meniscus. I've been bone on bone for 10 years. I refused the surgery. But when I get up and I do my affirmations, I put my hands on my knees and I say, this body is healing itself. I am sending the cells to make this body whole, to replace this connective tissue. I walk without a limp. I am in great physical health. And you know what? I don't use a cane anymore.
Wow.
I don't need to have a replacement because I'm walking without pain, and I'm walking unlike I have in 10 years because I continue to talk to myself and I believe it.
Yes, that's the key. You have to believe it.
Yes.
You know, it's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Paul. You know, because so oftentimes we will start to become a victim to our illness.
Yes.
And then, you know, to just keep affirming, oh, I'll never get better, or I'm just stuck with this situation. This is just how it is.
We take ownership of it.
Yeah, exactly. When we can start to make those subtle shifts with an affirmation, with a little reminder, like actually maybe there is the possibility that I can get better.
Yeah. You know,
Every
stop
day
saying
and
that
every
this
day.
is my cancer, this is my diabetes, this is my depression. No, those are things that I experienced. I am not cancer. I am not depression. I am not diabetes. Those are conditions that I am overcoming.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you gotta believe that, man.
Absolutely. You know, there's some audio affirmations that I put out into the world as well, because when we listen to recorded affirmations, that can be a really powerful way to get the mind thinking in a good way. And one of the ones that I created is called Miraculous Healing Power Affirmation. Miraculous Healing Power Affirmation. It's on Insight Timer, which is an app for audio meditations and audio affirmations. You can find it on my website also, but it's all free. Those are amazing, powerful, powerful affirmations. And the Miraculous Healing one really has, I've watched people use that affirmation and recover miraculously after surgeries or going into surgeries, and just kind of fine-tuning the way that we're thinking after an experience like a surgery or getting ill. It's so powerful. We can start to focus on thoughts like, every day in every way I'm getting better and better.
Wow.
I have the capability of having miraculous healing.
Yes.
Smiling supports my healing. I am patient in my process of healing and recovery. I trust this process. It's safe for me to be patient in the process of healing and returning to my full vitality.
I like that. I want you to talk about power poses. I am big on power poses.
Oh yes, power poses. So Tony Robbins is the big inspiration for power poses. So mind, body, and spirit are so connected. And so I have found that an affirmation in the body is a power pose. Right? And if we are closed off, we usually fold our arms in front of our chest and we roll our shoulders forward, and we kind of crunch up our face. That's kind of like that's a posture of being closed. That's an affirmation of like, don't talk to me. I'm not open.
I'm not open.
But if we want to actually start to feel more open, then we can change our body, and then our minds might start to follow that. So we would bring our shoulders onto our back, our arms down, our head up, tall spine. Then we can start to feel more open. We can feel more aligned.
Yep.
Right?
Receptive.
If we want to start to feel more confident, this is one I do a lot with my female clients. There is a stance, it's horse stance. When we get into horse stance, and then we bring our arms up kind of like a vessel, and we just have a strong sense of our foundation, and we have our arms up, it becomes this posture of empowerment.
Wow.
We're grounded, we're rooted in our sense of self, we're open to receive goodness, right? There is this something so powerful when we put our bodies in these particular positions that can start to help us believe in ourselves.
It boosts testosterone in your body. It literally boosts chemicals in your body that make you more positive.
That's right. Yes, the other one that I always love to encourage in the power affirmation groups is that I think this came from Tony Robbins too, is where you grab your fist up in the air and then you bring it down and you say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wrote down when I was reading your notes. I love this. This is the Wonder Woman pose.
Oh yeah, hands on the hips.
Yes, this is so powerful. When I was in sales, I used to use that every day when I did my affirmations, and I could just feel the intensity and how much it extended my reach as far as my energy, my confidence, and my sales ability increased. Really reflective of that.
Yep. Going up to these kinds of practices, the easier it gets.
Yep.
The more joyful it becomes. Learning a new instrument. It's a little awkward at first because you're still learning. And then so like I really recommend, if you're going to start doing power poses as a practice and an affirmation of the body, then it might feel a little forced at first, and that's okay.
Yes.
Just keep trying, keep going, and see what happens. Give and affirm, I am confident. See what happens.
Yep. I'm a real big proponent of writing your affirmations and putting them on the mirror, putting them on the refrigerator, putting them on the back door, putting them on your sun visor, putting them, in your notebook, wherever. Those things are so. I remember when I first wanted a Nissan Titan. Oh my gosh, that was my dream. And I put it in I had a clipboard, and I had it inside my clipboard, and and I would go home. There was one on my filing cabinet, and lo and behold, next thing I know, I owned a Titan, a Nissan Titan, and I've owned 3 since then.
Amazing.
But
yeah,
it was
believe.
You
believe. You're talking about manifestation as well. When we start to write things down, clarify our intention, we start to open up to the miracles, right? I think of ink as one of the first processes of bringing thought to form.
Ooh.
Ink.
Ooh.
Right? Ink, as soon as we write it down, it turns into a form, from thought to form.
Wow.
So write it down.
That's profound. I mean, that is so simple but profound. Ink it really is. You tell it what to do, and then it will tell you what to do. It's like you plan your work, and then you work your plan.
That's right, exactly.
There's a section in here that's called support, and I love this, Betsy. And what it is, it's pages, and 2 pages of affirming words. It starts out abundant, accepting, activated, affectionate, alive, amazed, amazing, animated, artist, at ease, attractive, and then it goes all the way through thrilled, touched, thankful, tranquil, transformational, triumphant, trusting. Goes all the way down to visionary, vivacious, vulnerable, warm, warrior, whole, willing, wise. Unbelievable. If you don't know the words that you need to use to help yourself, guide yourself forward, here it is.
That's right. This page was specifically put in there to help get the wheels in motion.
Yes.
This is here to help you start to really get into that place of feeling inspired. If you don't use affirmations or journaling, one of the common things I get from people that are wanting to start journaling, I hear they say, I just don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Journaling is really hard for me. I have never been good at it. And so there's training wheels in here.
Yes.
The prompts are set up to get the wheels in motion, and then there's a whole section in there with all those words to really help to start getting the fire going, the sparks, getting that ignited, so
Yes.
that way you can start to write, start to
catalyst.
manifest, start to believe. It's a catalyst, exactly.
I got to tell you this is kind of funny, but when I was looking at this page, I thought to myself, if all you did was buy this book and go through these 2 pages over and over and over again, your affirmation power would increase tremendously. Because these words, hearing these words, healer, healthy, honest, honorable, helpful, when you hear these words in relation to who you are, guess what's going to happen? That person inside of you, deep inside of you, hears them. And it will obey.
Yes.
It will obey.
Yes.
I'm going to give you my favorite affirmation. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. That's a Paul J. Meyer quote. I learned that when I was 22 years old. I've never forgotten it. I've shared it with thousands of people, and I continue to share it because it's such a powerful statement.
I love that. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yes. And it sounded similar to Florence Scovel Shinn. She's also one of the pioneers of positive mindset and affirmation. I heard she was actually Louise Hay's mentor.
Wow.
And so she wrote a book called Your Word is Your Wand.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, so also like I think late 1800s, early 1900s. And so yeah, there's some language in there that can really help you get into a good mindset, manifesting, bringing into form what it is that you desire.
Yeah, powerful.
So
Powerful.
powerful, yes.
Man.
Wow, I'm so inspired, Paul. Thank you so much for this conversation. I hope
Yes.
those of you out there that are listening are feeling that the sparks of inspiration
Yes.
and the affirmations that are reminding you to be able to believe in yourself and remember that you have the power to make positive changes in your life, powerful opportunities to reframe perspective, to look at the world in an optimistic way, to take the reins of our health, to take the reins of our lives in a way that we can really start to make healthy, positive changes together.
Absolutely. You know, I have a plaque in my house, and it says everything's going to be okay. And I share that with whenever I have someone who's feeling down. I send that to them. I shout, you know, and it's the most wonderful, powerful affirmation. You know, 17 years ago when my wife was dying of cancer, my mantra was, "This too shall pass. This too shall pass." But then I changed it to, "Everything's going to be okay." And that little shift in my mindset went from desperation to hope.
Yes.
And when your mind hears words of hope, guess what happens to them thoughts of desperation? They can't be in the same place. And so you put that good stuff in and get the old stuff out. And guess what's going to happen? You are going to achieve. You're going to accomplish. You're going to succeed. You're going to reach heights you've never dreamed possible because you do have what it takes. You do have what it takes. The Power Affirmation Journal is a tool that you must have in your hand. Guys, when you order this book, make sure and order the affirmation cards with it. I promise you, this will be a worthwhile investment of your time, your money, and the effort will be well worth the result. Guys,
Thank you so much, Paul. Yes, and there's a little bundle on my website. When you get them together, you save some money. They also make really great gifts.
oh yes.
You know, I found that the Power Affirmation Journal as a gift to someone is a way to say, hey, I believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a way to say, hey, I know you have had a hard run, and I know you're working on yourself. Here's a tool to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a really beautiful way to say, I believe in you.
Guys, order 5 of these and send them out as Christmas gifts, and order one for yourself. I promise you, this is an investment that is well worth your time. Well worth your it's a small investment, but a huge return.
Yes.
Guys, you've been watching the Weekend Boost on KUHS, the stream, and I am your host, Paul Lane. We have been talking to guest and hero, Betsy Finkelhu. You have been such an inspiration. Your book it's wonderful. What a pleasant read. I'm going to continue filling out this journal because I can see the benefit, the opportunity that's in this. Guys, please stay tuned. We have Mr. International Paul Chavez coming up to bring you some awesome music this afternoon. As always, KUHS is putting on a good variety of music, of information, and community notices that you really want to find out about. Palabra, remember Palabra, where there's a business meeting of like-minded business members. It's coming up. Please forgive me, I didn't announce that. Let me get my calendar. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to put it out on my Facebook page. Guys, forgive me. Betsy, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you and to know you, and I just wish you the most wonderful success in every endeavor you encounter.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you so much. I'm so inspired. And for those of you listening, feel free to reach out. Send me a message on my website, or you can find me on the social medias, Betsy Finkelhu on Facebook and Betsy Who on Instagram. I love connecting with people out there who are also on the path of transformation. I love getting to fan your flames.
Yes.
So thank you, Paul. This is so wonderful.
Yes, it was.